And welcome back to another episode of Go Baby Go TV. I'm Louie Hillman, joined by my partner, the Optimist guy, Brian Setzler. What's up, Brian?
Hey guys, happy Monday.
Yep, ready to rev up your week and turbocharge your sales. So, Brian, today we're asking the question, how does a tax-free retirement plan really work? Great article just published a few weeks ago on the Premier Planning site, and you can find it on LinkedIn as well. I would venture a guess that a lot of financial advisors would even ask themselves that question. Do you agree?
It's possible. It's hard for me to reconcile since we've been dealing with that for 35 years, but we're happy to talk about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of specific items covered in the article, but there's two that I want to focus on for today's discussion. The first one is probably the most common question that I get as it relates to cash value life insurance for creating supplemental tax-free retirement income. And it's this question: how do policy loans actually work? How does that actually work with an insurance contract?
Well, first, before we explain that, we should explain that the concept is simple. All we're doing is stuffing as much money as you possibly can per face amount dollar, right? So you're not, instead of paying the least premium in order to obtain a certain amount of life insurance, this is the reverse. You're paying the most premium. Why would you do that? The reason you're paying the most premium is so that the accumulation of equity within the plan exceeds the costs associated with the life insurance. So therefore you build up equity inside the plan over a period of years. All right, so that's part one. Then part two is, how do you get the equity out during retirement, which is your question. How do policy loans work, right? And so policy loans, you basically have three choices to take money out of a plan. You can withdraw money, you can use a fixed loan, or you can use a participating loan. Louie?
Yeah, and our focus of how we are coaching and training advisors to build and administer and offer these plans is the value of the participating loan. And can you just compare and contrast both the withdrawal, the fixed loan, and the participating loan to give just a general overview of those different distribution methods?
Yeah, and I think once you can contrast them, it helps people understand it better. So for example, if you have money in a bank account and you withdraw money from the account, it goes without saying that the money's no longer there to earn interest, right? Same in a life insurance policy. If you withdraw money from the account, that means the money you withdrew is now gone. You spent it or did something else with it, but it's no longer within the life insurance policy. If it's not in the life insurance policy, it can't continue to earn any sort of growth. Okay. Fixed loan, it's really a similar math. If you borrow money at 3% and the insurance company credits 3%, that's what's called a zero spread loan. Zero spread means it's tantamount to a withdrawal. It's a device that was created by the life insurance industry many, many years ago so that a person could borrow money at zero net cost once they've reached the point in the policy's life where they've already withdrawn all of their premiums or their basis. Tax law says is once you withdraw up to basis, the old thinking was then you switch to loans. And so the innovation at the time, years ago, 25 years ago, was to have a zero spread loan. So a zero cost way to continue to mine the equity within the life insurance policy, okay? And then about 2012 or 2013, the next innovation, which was a participating loan. Participating loan allows the client to be charged an interest rate from the life insurance company, but the money is still in the plan, presumably earning a higher rate of return than the cost of the loan. And that's very powerful because over time it translates to significant equity gains, another method by which to access the equity that's in the plan. And then all these loans are repaid upon the death of the insured. with the remainder being paid tax-free to the family of the decedent.
Yeah, and I would even, make the assumption or the observation that it to me, it seems like a lot of the focus in terms of education on index life insurance products at the advisor level is really focused on the different crediting methods. Okay, here are the different indexing strategies available in our product versus that product, and then using a 1-year cap strategy or a participation rate strategy. And the education seems to be so focused on the crediting and how those differ and what the rate of return assumptions would be from one strategy to the next. And there's very little focus on the actual mechanics of the distribution within these policies, that the advisors find themselves feeling uneducated or unprepared when the client starts asking questions of, how does this actually work in practice? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know who educates who on what. If you think about, you go to ice cream store, 31 flavors, right? Well, there's probably at least 31 flavors of accumulation strategies within all the various index life products. Those are, to your point, there are different iterations of blended indices, S&P based indices, not even to mention the whole variable life discussion, which would be variable subaccounts. So there theoretically could be hundreds and hundreds of different subaccount choices across the spectrum of products. But if we limit our discussion to index life, meaning products that are not securities, products that guarantee the consumer no loss during a year that the stock market goes down in value, whatever the details are on the crediting strategy, we're still back to only 3 ways to take money out, like we talked about: withdrawals, fixed loans, or participating loans. Thing about participating loans seems to be that people have a hard time understanding that they can earn more than the cost of a loan. That seems to be the concept that is difficult for a person to wrap their head around a little bit. But once they do, even when they do, the other hurdle is, well, okay, so I can make a little bit more than what my policy loan cost. What does that mean? What's the conclusion? The conclusion is compounded, like you keep talking about, uninterrupted compound growth within a life insurance product tax-free is very powerful. And if you have a way to tap into that growth while paying no tax, it could become instrumental in providing tremendous financial security to many people.
Yeah, I think as we're talking through this, I think one of the takeaways for me is that the advisor needs to bridge the gap between the crediting during the growth and accumulation years of the plan to the mechanics and logistical elements of how the customer actually receives and uses those funds for spendable income, right? And if the advisor is not properly explaining that mechanism, then you have a client wondering, how does this actually work? If that fundamental question isn't answered, they're unlikely to proceed with implementing the plan.
Well, the other part of that is that people gloss over it, because if you take a look at whole life companies, they've got great projected accumulated cash values over time because of the fact that it grows every year. There's never a 0 year, it always grows. But they skip over the part about, well, how do you gain access to the equity in the plan? Well, it turns out they charge you a crazy high interest rate, and they also suppress your dividend. So they make it very difficult for you to benefit from accessing those values. All the value inures to the benefit of the life insurance company, in my opinion. Same thing with variable life. People think wrongly, well, I'm a very sophisticated person, so therefore I want the most sophisticated product. So they think the most sophisticated product is variable life because you have variable subaccounts. Growth and income, large, medium, small cap, ETF choices, etc., within one menu, essentially a mutual fund marketplace within one product, all of which is tax-free, except for what? Except when you need to access the money, the only choice you have is a 0 cost loan. So that means from the moment you start borrowing from a variable life contract, your loans cease to earn any equity from that point forward.
Yeah, very important points. Would love to get the full article in your hands if you're interested in it. Bryan, always appreciate the conversations and the insights. Of course, we'll be back next Monday to rev up your week and turbocharge your sales. Make it a great day.